to a brand new video. So today I'm back for you with kind of a different concept than I usually do here on my YouTube channel. I thought it would be really fun to share with you the 25 life lessons that I would give my teenage self. And I thought that would be kind of symbolic since I'm 25 years old right now, and that's a quarter of my life, at least when I become 100. I don't know if I actually want to be 100 years old, guys. I know that sounds really depressing, but to imagine that the people that I currently know might not be alive when I'm 100, that sounds terrifying. But let's not get too deep so early on in this video. Let's not talk about death. Mental notes and those subjects are a no-go. Anyways, I wrote down 25 life lessons on my phone. Look how cute my phone case is, by the way. I had to show it off to you guys because it's pink and I love pink. And even if you're not a teenager, these are very important things that I have learned throughout the years and that I might have learned the hard way. So if any of you guys can learn at least something from this video, then that will make me very happy. Definitely stick till the end because these are life lessons that are very close to my heart. And now, without further ado, let's get into it right away. So number one is you don't need to fit in. Growing up, especially in high school, I always had this perception that you needed to fit in with the crowd. You needed to meet the status quo. You needed to be normal in order to be accepted. And now I know that it's completely okay to be different. You don't need to change yourself to fit in a certain friend group or change your aesthetic to fit what other people might think of you. Don't be such a people pleaser and just do you. It's okay if you stand out. That is actually gonna help you in the long run. And when you're a little bit older, you appreciate that you have a unique sense of style or a unique opinion and that you're not quote unquote normal. So don't be like the rest, stand out, and don't ever change yourself. Okay, friendships shouldn't be forced. You will meet people you love when the time is ripe. So growing up, I didn't have a lot of friends at all. And the friends that I had were always, I don't know, I was always quite disappointed in them. And I didn't really know if it was my fault or their fault, but I always ended up being alone. I don't know, I dreamed of being in one of those high school friend groups that you would see on television or in movies. So I was always quite disappointed by that, but now I realize that I just wasn't surrounded by the right people yet. Because now in my life, I have a very small friend group. It's super small. I have like 2 people that I'm really close to, but those are my best friends and I can always talk to them no matter what the problem is. I always feel so understood by them, and that's way more important than having a large friend group. And even if you don't have any friends right now, I also didn't have any friends in high school. Like, this is not an exaggeration. I would eat lunch by myself in the school library because I didn't want to be in the cafeteria where all the people were, because then they would see me eat alone. Just trust me, it will be all right. So don't worry too much about that. 3 is you don't need a boyfriend. It's so much more important as a teenager to focus on your own growth. Guys, please don't ever feel like you need to date because you need to fit the standard. Once again, you don't need to fit in. So don't start a relationship just because all your friends are in a relationship. Do it only when the time is right, and you will know when the time is right, because then it will feel right and you won't feel awkward or pressured or anything like that. So just go with the flow. Love comes when you least expect it, so don't just force yourself to be in a relationship because it's cool. 4 is you don't need to grow up so fast. It's okay to hold on to your childhood. So this one hits really close to home because I remember so vividly that one day my mom brought me a Barbie magazine and I was really sick, so she thought that would cheer me up, and I was like, no, I'm not a child anymore, I'm a teenager, I don't want a Barbie magazine. And I was so rude to her whilst I actually wanted that Barbie magazine, and then I made her return it, and it was so rude of me, first of all, but also I only did that because I wanted to be cool and not because I actually didn't want that Barbie magazine. It's just a small example, but I felt like I was pressured into growing up so fast. Also, when I arrived at high school and it was my first day of high school, there were all these girls and they were talking about kissing and spicy stuff, and I didn't know anything about that. I had never even touched a boy or held hands with a boy before. So I felt kind of pressured to participate in those conversations, even though I didn't know anything about dating. And yeah, that made me feel really awkward. So, you know, it's okay to still watch cartoons or to wear unicorn pajamas or to sleep with stuffed animals. I still do that now and I'm 25, so don't feel pressured to grow up too fast. Then number 5 is a good bra is such a good investment. Please save up your money. It's so much better to buy like one really good bra than 5 cheap ones from H&M. And I learned this the hard way because I grew up with very small boobs and I got teased for it all the time. Like, girls were so ruthless, especially when we were changing during like PE time. So yeah, I was really insecure about that, and I always had these really cheap bras from H&M, and they weren't even like that cheap. They were like $20, and I know that the really expensive high-end lingerie brands, you can get things for $20. So spend your money wisely. A good bra will make all the difference. This is one from Intimissimi. It's already like super gorgeous just by looking at it, like the lace and the pattern, but also this one is so supportive. It's the right size because they measure you, they're very gentle with you, they talk to you about what's the right model for you, and it totally makes a difference in how my boobs look and how they feel and just everything. If I knew that beforehand, that I wouldn't have wasted my time in these super cheap bras because they don't do anything for you. Just invest in a good bra, please. 6, shopping online is superior. So I used to always shop in stores and then I could never find what I wanted. But as soon as I started shopping online, I learned, one, that you can get things for way cheaper. So if you're on a budget, I can imagine you are, because if you're a teenager watching this, you don't have all the money in the world. So then it's much better to shop online because you can find the brand items that you want for much cheaper. Also, please look into vintage websites, especially if you're into more like designer brands. I remember that when I was a teenager, I wanted to wear designer brands, but I just didn't have the funds for it. And then later on in my life, I discovered vintage websites, and you can get things from Louis Vuitton, but also things from like lower end brands like Coach for way cheaper. And you know, it's also a sustainable way to wear fashion. So definitely look into buying vintage online. Then wait until you get tattoos until you're 21 years old. That sounds like I'm your mom and I'm preaching, but trust me guys, I waited until I was 21 and I'm so happy with that decision, because as a teenager, you're still growing and evolving, and you know, when you're in your 20s, you're a little bit more stable usually, and even though you might not know exactly where you are in life and you can still be confused, you are a lot more grown up. And I think that for a permanent decision like a tattoo, you have to be very sure of yourself, of what you want. So please wait a little longer and don't get one when you're like 16, because you will regret it, especially if you're not going to a good tattoo artist. Again, that's really worth saving up your money for, just like with the bra. And that ties in perfectly with number 8, is save up your money. Trust me, saving is so important. Even if you have like a super low paying job, just save $1 or €1 from your income and put it aside, because it will come in so handy later, especially if you want to travel or if you want to go to college. Just try to save up as much as possible. Even a small amount will make such a difference. Laser hair removal is so worth it. So when I was a teenager, I was struggling so much with my body hair. It was itching all the time. This might be TMI, but I just didn't feel comfortable when wearing a bikini, especially, you know, down there. And now I've done laser hair removal. I only have one more appointment to go and then I'm completely hair free, and it's such a blessing. I loved that I saved up for that. It's definitely very expensive, but so worth it in my opinion. Then make sure to drink enough water and cut down on the salt. So I don't know if you guys know this, but I was struggling so much with my face shape. So I got a lot of comments saying, oh my god, you have a double chin and where's your jawline? And it has improved so much already. And the two things that I've changed is, one, I use my gua sha and my face rollers, but the thing that made the most difference is that I cut down on my salt intake and I started drinking way more water, and that also helped with the buildup of liquid in my legs. My face and my body have the tendency to hold on to water, and a cheap way to get rid of all that water weight is cutting down on your salt and drinking more water. That sounds counterintuitive, but trust me, that's the way it works. You can also get lymphatic drain massages and get all these expensive tools, but since you guys are teenagers, I think this is a very good tip that is completely free. Then do whatever the fuck you want when it comes to your career. Don't let anybody tell you what to do. There are so many people who made fun of me for doing YouTube, even family members who didn't understand it whatsoever, but I'm so happy because look at where I am right now. So don't care what anybody tells you. You can do anything you want. If you want to be an astronaut, go be an astronaut. You got this. 12, family should be your top priority, point blank. Read lots of books. I'm a huge book lover. I love reading and it relaxes me so much. It's such a blessing to get time off my screen and to relax and to unwind with a book. So I definitely recommend my teenage self to start reading more. Always listen to your gut feeling. Your body doesn't define you. Your outer shell is not who you are. Don't let people bring you down because they don't like your appearance. If they have complaints, they are just horrible people and they don't deserve you, because they should be looking within you and not just at your outer shell. Your body is not who you are. Give your pets even more attention than you already do. Your pets unfortunately won't live your entire life. So if you have a family pet that you grew up with, give it some extra kisses today because your pets deserve that. Saying yes can be beautiful, but saying no is sometimes even more powerful. Know your boundaries and say no, please. Don't ever hold back on your emotions. If people say that you're too enthusiastic, that you're too bubbly, that you're too out there, that you're too quirky, don't listen to them. Like, you are perfect just the way you are, and don't let anybody else tell you how to feel or how to express your emotions. They are just stupid for not recognizing how great you are. And I have a book recommendation that deals with this topic. It's Josh and Hazel's Guide to Not Dating. People often don't want to date Hazel because she's too out there, and honestly, fuck them, because she ends up with someone really cute and she doesn't need all those losers that don't get her. So yeah, period. If you ever feel unsure about something, don't be afraid to ask help of your teachers or your family or your friends. It's okay to not know everything. Nobody knows all the answers in the world. So asking something is never stupid. It's more stupid if you don't ask. Invest in good skincare. So I only started with really good skincare when I was in my 20s, and I kind of wish that I started earlier because I think that skincare makes such a difference, and I already noticed that my skin looks so much better than when I was a teenager. It just looks so much more glowing and radiant, and I wish that I knew how to take care of my skin when I was a teenager. Skincare doesn't even have to be that expensive. Just invest in some good moisturizers, some good cleansers, and you're good to go. I have a lot of skincare videos on my channel in case you want to know more about skincare and the skincare that I use. Definitely recommend that. Then you will never be truly happy if you focus too much on what's happening in the future or what has happened in the past. You will only be truly satisfied if you live in the present moment, so please try to live in the now. Be proud of yourself and celebrate your accomplishments. So this is a huge one for me because I feel like in my life I have done so many things and I didn't really take the time to celebrate them, brushing it off like it wasn't a big deal, but that resulted in me not celebrating the things that were really huge for me, like graduating from university or reaching certain milestones on YouTube, any fitness achievements, or just small stuff as well. Try to celebrate your achievements with your friends and family, because being too humble sometimes isn't the way to go. Don't compare yourself to others. I know everybody says this, but please don't. And then last but not least, number 25, this is my life motto, and that is 2 quotes. This too shall pass, life goes on. Truly, if you're in a hard situation, there will be another day. There will always be a tomorrow. Even if you think something is the end of the world, it's not. This too shall pass. And that is the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I needed that sip of water because I was so dehydrated. Drink enough water. And I hope that you learned something from this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any life lessons for me, please leave them down in the comments below, and love you loads.